everyone, welcome to this week's video. This week I'm showing you my everyday makeup routine. It's a very simple look, it's nothing too glamorous or extreme, it's just what I do on a regular basis, and I usually wear this to work or a night out, something like that. So if you want to keep watching, if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if there's anything I've missed out, if you want to know where I got it from. And if you want to subscribe to my channel and see more videos like this, please do. I hope you enjoy the video. So the first thing I always do is tie my hair up, and usually wear a hairband just to hold my hair out of the way. So I use this bamboo hairband just because it's stretchy and it's antibacterial as well, so it's not going to make my hair look greasy. It looks a bit mad, but it does work for me. It just holds my hair back nice and tight. I always start by washing my face first just to get rid of any oils or build up in my skin. I'll either use my Body Shop Vitamin C Daily Glow Cleansing Polish. So this, I mentioned before in my previous video, was it's quite exfoliating, so it will get rid of any dead skin on the surface of my face. Or I'll use this one, which is the Carrot Wash, which is an energizing face cleanser. And it's really refreshing and it wakes my skin up, so it's really nice to use this at the beginning of a day. If I'm using this one, which is more exfoliating, I will use this little brush as well, just to help me really exfoliate the skin. And then equally, if I'm using the Carrot Wash, I will use this bamboo cloth just because it's nice and soft on my skin. So once I've washed and dried my face, I'll use my Vitamin E Hydrating Toner from the Body Shop, and it just gives my skin that little bit of glow before I apply my moisturiser. So the moisturiser I use as a base for my makeup is the Nivea Soft Refreshingly Soft Moisturising Cream, and it's just nice and gentle, and it isn't too thick, and it's just moisturising my skin before I apply primer. For a long time I didn't use primer because I thought that moisturiser was a good enough base for me, but the more I was wearing makeup over the years, I decided it was better for my skin to put a primer on just to protect my pores a little bit. So I have two that I use. This is my main one that I use when I'm going to work or when I want to wear a face of makeup for the day or a night out. That makes a really good base, and it's the Lasting Finish Rimmel London 8-Hour Wear. And it's really affordable as well, and I go through these quite quickly, so that's good. And then I also have another Rimmel London one. This is the Radiance Primer, so it's actually got like a bit of a glow and a bit of, I don't want to say glitter because it's not glittery, but it's got a bit of a shimmer to it, and it basically makes you look really glowy. So this I'd use for like bigger nights out and parties when I want to have a bit more of a glow. So at the moment I've washed my skin, I've put my toner on and moisturiser, so we're going to start by applying the primer. Okay, so now on to foundation. I've had a couple of foundations over the years, but the brand that I've always stuck to the past 2 years or so has been No. 7. So the one I'm using at the moment is the Stay Perfect in the shade Cool Vanilla. I just find it's really easy to apply, and it's reasonably affordable as well, and it's just what's worked for me for a while. I'm going to start by using my Real Techniques 200 foundation brush just to apply it to my skin. So once I've applied my foundation with the brush, I will go in with my sponge afterwards, and I always use this Vitamin C Energising Face Mist just to dampen my sponge a little bit. Moving on to concealer, I use the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer in shade Fair, which is No. 5. So what I'll do is I'll add a few dots under my eyes, and then a tiny bit down my nose, centre of my forehead, and then centre of my chin, and a tiny bit on my cupid's bow. So I'll leave it there for about 10 seconds before blending it out, and I use my small little dense, this is the Real Techniques 300 brush, and it's just perfect size for under my eyes and not blending out so it's too big. But what I'll do is just gently pat over, blend it out a little bit. You won't be able to hear it, but in between takes I'm playing my favourite Spotify sing-along playlist, which is Disney, Hairspray, Greatest Showman, Hannah Montana. It's just a mix of all these songs that I've known for ages, and every time I hear them it just makes me happy. But I'm currently listening to Every Day from High School Musical 2. Oh, what a tune. So I've blended that in and it just made me look a little bit brighter under the eyes. So now we're going to use some loose powder just to set it in place. So I have a different sponge for this. Again, it's just the Real Techniques sponge. I'm going to use my vitamin C mist again. So the loose powder I use is the number 7 Perfect Light loose powder. And it's in the shade Fair again because I'm pale. So what I like to do is I open it up and I basically use the lid to hold the powder like this, and then I'm just going to press my damp beauty sponge into it, and I use like the pointy side and basically do under my eyes. If there's any boys watching up to this point, they're just going to think, is this really what girls have to do? Yeah it is. So all I've done there is just set the concealer I've put in place. So whilst the loose powder is baking under my eyes, I'm going to also go in with my powder now as well. So I use this big fluffy brush, which is the Spectrum A01 brush. And I use the Rimmel London Stay Matte powder. And it's in the shade Transparent, so it's 001. So I'm literally just going to go in with a little bit, tap it off. And basically just go over my whole face, but focusing on the bits that don't have loose powder on for now. Now I need to take off the loose powder. So I've got my little Morphe brush here. It's just like a little loose fluffy brush, but it's nice and small. So I just use this to sort of dust off the powder after it's set. Some people use like big fluffy brushes like the one I've just used to get their powder off. But I prefer just using a little one because I feel like it does more instead of putting more product on. Okay, so moving on to bronzer, I use the Hoola Benefit bronzer, and I use this brush. This is a bronzing brush. It's old, so the markings have come off, so I can't tell you which one it is, but it's just this soft blending brush really. So I put a little bit on the brush and I tap it, and then what we're trying to do is we're aiming for this like backwards 3 shape on the side of my face like that. So we sort of want to start going up on the brow bone into the hairline, and I like sort of doing the outside first, just like dusting it on like that, and then we like to come sort of in a, I'm doing it in sort of like a circle motion on my cheek. That's what works for me. And then we're going to do side. I think bronzer can make a big difference. I never used to use it. I used to use like a brown harsh contour, but I think this makes a big difference for like casual makeup and sort of night out makeup, is because it's just softer. It's just giving you a bit of colour, a bit of dimension, but contour and highlight, when you go that extra mile and do it all like properly and structured, it looks amazing, don't get me wrong, but for a more casual look, I think a bit of bronzer goes a long way. And then the last bit I'll do as well is just a little bit over my nose, because with the concealer in the centre of my face, it's all bright down the middle. So I just need to bronze up my nose so it matches. I literally just use the tiniest bit on my brush. There we go. So moving on to blusher, I actually really like putting blusher on because my skin is naturally quite pinky toned. It just brings out that extra bit of colour. So it was actually my sister that gave me this blush, but it's the Benefit Dandelion blush. It's just this lovely like corally light pink. And then I'm using my Real Techniques 405 brush for this. So I think this is actually a contour brush, I'm not sure, but it's slightly angled, but I just like that it's quite dense and packed to put my blusher on. Because I feel like if you use a fluffy brush like a powder brush or a bronzer brush, it's not really directing where you want to put the colour. So I use this one, it's what works for me. So again, like the bronzer, I put a little bit on the brush, tap it off, and then I'm literally going to grin at you and smile like this. Mainly put it on the apples of my cheeks, like that. And I also like to go in again, put a little bit on my nose, and then I always like to put it on the top. It looks like I'm putting it on my eyebrows, but I'm not. Like where my bronzer is to where my foundation and the sort of like natural brighter bit there is above my eyebrow, I like to put a bit in there because it sort of blends the colour round. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but that's what I do. So with eyebrows, I like to use my Archery pencil from Soap and Glory. It's a brow pencil. So you've got a spoolie on one end and then the pencil on the other, so it's really fine tip pencil. So I also have a big pack of these. These are little sort of eyebrow brushes. I don't know what they're called. Are they called spoolies? I think so. But I just use this to like brush out my eyebrows first and just get them in the sort of shape I need them to start filling them in. But these are just little disposable brushes, so I use these quite often. And you can get a pack off Amazon really cheap as well. So once I brush through my brows, I will then go in with my eyebrow pencil. I used to struggle a lot with my eyebrows. They used to be really thin, so I'm really lucky to even have any hair there anymore. So I like to give them a bit of shape now, but I don't really fill the whole thing in. I literally just focus on the arch or any bits that look a bit sparse. So once I've put a bit of the brow pencil through the ends of my eyebrows, like the arch part, again, I'll just brush them through. And then to set my eyebrows in place, once I've put the pencil through, I'll use the Benefit Gimme Brow brow gel. So this is definitely a product that I haven't found a better one of. So even though I prefer using the Soap and Glory brow pencil, this brow gel is something else. I must say though, it doesn't last very long. It's one of those products that you sort of have to keep topping up, but it is good and it really does make a difference. And some days I'll just use this instead of filling in my eyebrows. I'll just use this gel just to shape them. So we all know eyebrows are not twins, they are sisters, so I never try that hard to make sure they're the exact same. I used to years ago, and I wish I didn't waste so much time back then, because it really doesn't matter, just as long as you're happy with them. And I am. So I haven't got the best eyebrows, but I appreciate that they've grown back since school because they were very thin. So now I've done my eyebrows, I'm going to move on to eyeshadow. Sometimes when I'm really in a rush, or I'm starting at like 6:30, 7 o'clock at work, I sometimes use just bronzer as eyeshadow, just because it gives you a bit of dimension and it looks like you've done something but you really haven't. But most of the time I'll usually use one of my two Naked palettes. So I've got the Naked 3 and the original Naked palette. So this one is more like bronzy tones and browns, and then this one is more pinks and corals and slightly dark shades as well. But this is usually what I use practically all the time, especially like the sort of dark pinks, these two, with a bit of the shimmer as well. And I'll sometimes use the shimmers up here as highlights as well. So that's what I'm going to show you now, is what I usually do. And again, this is just going to be quite quick, it's nothing too difficult. So I'm going to start off blending this shade here, which is called Limit, this sort of light pinky shade, into my, just all over my crease and upwards. And then I'm going to blend this Nuna colour, which is like the darky purpley almost shade, into my crease, and then I might put one of these sort of shimmers on. I'm going to use my Morphe brushes for this bit, so I've got two that I always go for. This is the first one, which I'm going to use to blend the colour up above my crease. So this is just a light fluffy brush. And then I'm going in with my second Morphe brush, which is slightly denser, but again it's just like a little light fluffy brush. Then I'm going to use my brush from my Naked 3 palette, just because it's like a flat brush, so I can pack on a bit of glitter. So I'm going to go for this shade. It's called Trick, and it's quite like a darky colour, but it will come out quite light when I actually put it on. Ooh! Oh, I've put my top in my palette. Another thing I didn't do for ages, which I started doing a couple of years ago, was putting a little bit of eyeshadow underneath the corner of my eye, just because I think it actually makes quite a big difference. Especially because I use mascara on my lower lash, it sort of completes my eyeshadow look, I think. I'm going to use the shade Limit, which is the first colour I put on, just to blend out this sort of outer corner under my eye. A black top wasn't the right top to wear today. I thought it'd be better than white, but apparently not. Everything's just showing up, all the powder. Oh. Right, okay. So now I've done my eyeshadow, I'm going to move on to mascara. Okay, so I have had a lot of mascaras over the past couple of years, and I found my favourite after a long time, which is the roller lash from Benefit, and I think a lot of people, for them, this is their favourite too. One that I tried, I think I was gifted this by my auntie, but this is a really good black mascara, and it's really lengthening instead of volumizing. Because I've got long eyelashes, I don't like using thick, clumpy, voluminous mascara because it looks like I'm wearing fake eyelashes. It just looks too thick and it looks a bit fake. So these brushes that are really thin and fine, like the roller lash, are just perfect for me because I can coat every eyelash I've naturally got, and all it's doing is defining them and just giving them a bit of colour. But the one I'm currently using, which I'm really loving because it's not actually just black, it's like a brown black one, again is number 7. So this is the number 7 Extreme Length Waterproof Mascara. This was actually given to me for my 21st by my best friend's mum. So this, I'd never seen this mascara before, so I don't know if it's new or whether it's just one she uses and she likes. But yeah, so it's again really similar to the one I just shown you, but really fine and thin instead of thick and volumizing. But this, I've just found it really easy. It's not too wet when I apply it. So that's the only thing with this black one, is when I've got the time and I'm going on a night out, this is a really good mascara. However, if I'm in a rush, it's quite a wet, liquidy formula, which they tell you at Benefit when I've gone in and bought stuff from them. That's the only problem, is it's a bit wet. So if you've got the time to let it dry, it's brilliant. But like I say, if I'm usually going to work, I like to use something that will dry quickly. This is waterproof mascara as well, so if it's raining and I'm walking in, I don't have to worry. But it's always just like a bonus that if you can get waterproof stuff, why not? So I'm just going to apply this after I've curled my eyelashes. I'm just going to run this through. So I really don't put much on because I have got long eyelashes. So that's top eyelashes done there. It's just so easy. I haven't got clumps, I haven't missed my eyelashes and drawn it all over my eyes. I just think it's really pretty, and I think it looks really different from black mascara to wear one that's slightly browner because it looks more natural. Okay, so I've just done my bottom lashes as well, but you can't really see. I get quite annoyed as well because I wear glasses, like however hard I try with my eyeshadow or my eyebrows or my eyelashes, people won't really be able to tell. So usually I don't really do anything too extravagant. I'm not that good at doing like detailed art and liner and stuff like that. So this is just what I've always done, is quite basic, usually a bit of a sort of smoky eye, I guess, and I always like a bit of a shimmer. But I've always found wearing like peachy or pinky tones really make my eyes look really blue. Okay, we're almost there. So if you're still watching, thank you for being patient with me. We're going to do highlighter now. So I use the Benefit Dandelion Twinkle, so it's like the matching one to the blusher, and it's this pinky toned shimmery highlight, and it's really pigmented, so I need to be careful that I don't put too much on. So the brush I use is the, again, Real Techniques 402 brush. So it's just this quite compact but similar to like my bronzer brush, but it's just smaller. So I used to use this to wipe away my powder, and then I found the Morphe brush and I just preferred the texture of that just to wipe away the powder. So what I'm going to do is just apply this to the high points of my face. So I use this brush to do on top of my cheeks, my forehead and my chin, but I'll use a slightly smaller brush to do my nose, my inner corner and my brow bone. So I just use the other side of my Naked 3 brush just because it's nice and small. Just because if I used a fluffy big highlighter brush for my nose, my whole nose would look like a glitter ball. So I'm just going to focus, and I actually learned this little tip online, was you're aiming to draw an exclamation point on your nose. So we're putting the line here. I haven't got anything on the brush yet. But we're putting the line from our bridge sort of to about halfway down your nose. And then you just want to highlight the tip of your nose. Woo, my brush broke. But yeah, just trying to focus on the middle point. Okay, so now I'm going to do my lips. I often start by just using a bit of cleanser or makeup remover just to get any of the foundation off my lips. It also gives me a chance just to exfoliate my lips a little bit before I put any product on. So if I'm just popping into town or going to work, I'll usually just wear lip gloss, and this is always my go-to lip gloss. It's the Sexy Mother Pucker Soap and Glory, and it's in the shade Bare Enough, and it's just this really like nudie pink. But if I want something that will last a bit longer, usually I wouldn't wear lipstick to a meal, but if I'm going on a night out or something like that, I'd usually wear lipstick. So I first of all would always recommend using a lip liner, even just a little bit. So I've got this Collection Lip Definer in nude pink. And then if you haven't tried these before, I definitely recommend them. But Soap and Glory do these lovely lipsticks. They're really creamy. The way they describe them is satin. But this lipstick is called Naked Talent. That's the shade. And again, it's the Sexy Mother Pucker range. And it's just really creamy, and it's not drying at all, so that's why I really like it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort of combine the three. So I'm going to first of all use my lip liner, mainly just to define the edges. I know that looks a bit crazy, but don't worry, I'm sorting it out. So I'm going in with the Naked Talent Satin Soap and Glory. It's just a nice shade. I think it's different to just pink. But again, I think it makes my eyes look so much bluer when I'm wearing like corally pinky shades. So now I'm just going to put my Bare Enough lip gloss over the top, just to give it a bit of shimmer. So usually I'm doing like an 8-hour shift at work, so I need this makeup to last all day. So I've moisturised, primed, and then set my makeup in place with powder as I've gone along. But to finish it all off, I will use my setting spray, Mist and Fix makeup setting spray with a matte finish from GRWM. You can get loads of these, like the All Nighter Urban Decay is famously known as the best one. I used that for a while and it lasted me like 6 months. But it is a brilliant setting spray. It's just a shame it's quite expensive. So this is just like the cheaper version. You can get these from like Rimmel, GRWM, Maybelline, all sorts of brands like that. And I think this was about £4, maybe £5. But it lasts a while and it does the job. So I'm literally just going to spray this. You're supposed to do it in like a T. So here we go. I will give you a tip though, if you're spraying setting spray, don't have your mirror in front of you like this, because it will get all sticky and funny and you have to clean it. And all that does is just set my makeup in place. It lasts that little bit longer. It also just gives your face a bit of moisture so it doesn't look too dry once you've put powder on. Okay, you'll have to forgive me, I haven't brushed my hair just because I've been trying to strip the colour out for the past few days and my hair is so dry, it's ridiculous. Even though it looks really like shimmery and healthy, it's not, so don't be fooled. But this is what my makeup looks like with my hair down as well. I hope you like it. It is just like my everyday, what I like to do. It's not anything too extravagant, but I just thought I'd share it with you. Oh, look at those roots. Oh no. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again next week.